Today we have Colby Hauser, MD and CEO of Talon Energy, ticker TPD. How long have you been the CEO of Talon Energy?
Just over 3 months.
What did you do before Talon?
I was GM Commercial at Strike Energy, who happens to be the joint venture partner for Talon in lawyering.
What is Talon's main commodity?
Natural gas and condensate.
Is gas hard to find around the world?
Yes and no. Easier to find now with technology, but still quite hard to produce in some cases.
In layman's terms, how does gas get out of the ground and into my stovetop?
Basically, you'll have a production well that'll get the natural gas from underground. You'll run it through a production facility and into a transmission pipeline and then a distribution pipeline to your house.
What role will gas play in a world where wind and solar are more common?
I think it'll continue to play a pretty big part. I think gas for power generation, will sort of taper in years to come, but remains huge for industrial customers.
What is something most people don't know about gas?
Gas is actually injected with mercaptan that gives it that rotten egg smell. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to smell it.
Why does Talon farm in and JV on projects instead of operating them yourselves?
I think as a smaller company, it's a little more sort of capital efficient. You don't have as many employees. You're still retaining, that production interest and having the revenue income associated with it, but you have to carry less people.
Does Talon plan on operating its own projects in the future?
I think perhaps in time it really comes down to the size of the resource and the scale, and how comfortable you are in that operating space.
Where are your projects located?
Our projects are located in WA in the Perth Basin, about 200 kilometers north of Perth, and in Mongolia in the South Colby Basin, which is about 900 kilometers from Ulaanbaatar.
Why the Perth Basin?
Perth Basin has been long established as a productive basin. I mean, there's been a lot of oil and gas over the last sort of 30, 40 years, and it's a pretty easy choice.
Is there a ready-made market for gas in Perth?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the industrial demand is remarkable in Western Australia. A good portion of Australia's commodity production comes out of WA, and those companies all require gas.
And why Mongolia?
Mongolia actually is turning into be a premier CSG destination in the world. There's a ton of coal there, and obviously, with porosity and permeability, there's some great opportunities for coal seam gas.
You mentioned coal seam gas. What is CSG?
It's a gas within a coal seam, at sort of 600 to 800 meters, and that gas essentially just seeps out of that coal seam.
Is coal seam gas safe to get out of the ground?
Yes, yeah, for sure. Probably even more so than conventional natural gas, as there's far less pressure.
Tell us something we should know about coal seam gas.
I think it's very capital efficient. CSG is sort of all about scale, and it's actually pretty inexpensive to build a contingent resource.
Gas prices have risen heavily in the last 6 months. Are these prices sustainable?
Yes, I think so. I think, oil and gas exploration has been, largely underdone in the last few years. And it becomes a classic sort of supply and demand equation where, there's less supply and more demand.
Is gas here to stay as an energy source for good?
Yes, yeah, for sure. I think it's, very complementary in the energy portfolio. And as I said before, industrial customers, some can't step away from gas.
Where do you see Talon Energy in 1 year?
I think in 1 year, we'd be happy to be in production, obviously, generating revenues and free cash flow, where we can expand our business beyond where we are.
Where do you see Talon Energy in 5 years?
I think in 5 years' time, hopefully we have a bigger portfolio of exploration and production, and a corresponding market cap, and probably created an excellent return for investors.
Colby Hauser, CEO of Talon Energy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.